Hi all, Lasan the Just here again. I hope everybody had a wonderful Happy New Year and many blessings in the coming year. To all your friends, family, and acquaintances. Today I'm going to do a interesting and controversial video. Why following rules blindly is a dumb thing to do. Now, the vast majority of people in this country, and in any society for that matter, love rules. Why? Because following rules gets them out of trouble or keeps them out of trouble. And so people love to say, well, this is what we're supposed to do, so I'm going to do it. Yeah, okay, it's a safe way to play things. But the problem with rules is that if you don't know why rules exist, it can be, let's just say, troublesome, particularly over the long run. And it could lead to some unintended consequences and bad results. I'm going to give you a two-part video. The first one is going to deal with something that most people think is an absolute. Well, most people think both part one and part two items are going to be absolutes. The first item is prostitution. I always tell people that prostitution and marriage are the different sides of the same coin. And most people will sit there and look at me like I'm totally crazy and go, okay, you're going to really have to explain yourself on that one. Well, let's roll back tape 100,000 years. In the caveman era, what happened between man and women? Man, had urges and they randomly let those urges explode. Excuse the pun. And this led to it did lead to a lot of unwanted pregnancies. And even if the woman could survive that pregnancy, the chances of the baby and the woman surviving after childbirth would probably be very low unless a man stepped in to help. A lot of men, I could imagine back then, didn't want that responsibility. So what would end up happening in a society where there was a lot of unwanted pregnancies and, more importantly, unwanted children? Chances are that society would probably crumble. And even if children could get to adulthood, very unlikely, but if they could, they'll probably be very discontented adults. And they would bring massive chaos and rebellion to that society. And probably rightly so. So how does any society deal with this acrimonious situation? Well, if you could tie every child to a father who was then responsible and accountable for making sure that they can grow up, the children can grow up properly, then you basically eliminate this problem, right? So if you look around the world, and I've lived in 5 different countries and visited more than 24, it's pretty obvious. Every society came to about the same conclusion, which is that you have to have a man and woman marry before they can produce children. And women would not be allowed to have sex until they got married, so that every child born can be identified to the man, and therefore the man would then be accountable and responsible for those children. This is equally true in every single country, society, establishment, whatever you want to call, social group. It is without exception. And a lot of these societies and cultures never really had contact with each other until probably, 500 years ago. So, isn't that interesting that every society pretty much came to the same conclusion without each other's influences? And they set up almost exactly the same rules. But most people can't explain why marriage is the cornerstone of society and is the moral cornerstone of every country. Well, I just told you why now. This is also the reason why prostitution was made illegal and, most importantly, immoral in pretty much, again, every society independently of each other. So, now that you know why marriage and prostitution are different sides of the same coin, do you really now oppose prostitution as a profession? Could you? Is there a rational reason to do so? I don't think so. Because today, in today's society, not only are women capable of taking care of their own body and being single mothers and raising their children properly, a lot of women have done so, unwanted pregnancies can be, regrettably in my opinion, undone, to be polite. And birth control methodologies are so advanced that the chances of getting through those birth controls are very, very slim. And again, also, there's no reason for women not to enjoy sex before marriage. And therefore, there's no reason for men to oppose women to have sex before marriage or expect that their women must remain virginal until the night of marriage. None of these rules apply in modern society anymore. So again, I ask you, now that you know why prostitution was made immoral and illegal and why marriage was considered so sacrosanct, are you really going to still oppose prostitution? Are you really going to just live by a rule that was made probably at least, multi-tens of thousands of years ago? No, I hope you don't. The next video will deal with something equally as controversial. But the point of this video and the next video is that don't always live by rules. And if you do, then absolutely know why those rules exist. And ask yourself, is this what I want to abide by? This is incredibly important in making sure that future societies develop along the proper path. If you like what I just said, please give me a like and subscribe to my videos at Lasan the Just. Thank you. Have a nice day.